On Saturday, June 2nd, I'm hosting the very first live So Much To Say podcast in Atlanta. We're discussing nigger versus faggot. You do not want to miss this podcast. The details are available on my website. That's www.craigthewriterstewart.com. Okay, so back in November, I remember you and I had like a text message conversation, and I don't know if you remember this or not. It was a Wednesday. It was November 15th, and I sent you a text, and I said, "Are you okay?" And you said, "Yeah, I'm okay." And I said, "You sure?" And you said, "Yeah, we'll catch up." And I said, "Okay." That Monday, I sent you another text and I said, "You sure you're okay? I'm getting a feeling you may have some stuff on your mind. You know you can talk to me, right?" And then you said, "Of course I know. That's why I didn't answer your last call. I knew I would end up talking to you and crying. Been crying almost 5 months. Tired of crying. Just trying to keep it moving. We'll talk. Just don't feel like it at the moment." And so then I responded and I said, "I know my friend. I love you. I'm here when you're ready." And then you said, "Love you too. Thanks for paying attention." And then I said, "Absolutely." And then you responded and said, "Wondering how you could tell though." And then I said, "It was subtle the last time, but I felt it today." The last time we spoke, I almost asked about the guy, but I didn't because I had a feeling it was about him and you weren't ready to talk about it. I caught myself the last time. I didn't want to push you. And then you said, "Yeah, we'll talk." And then I said, "Whatever it is, know that you were protected." Imagine being all the way into the marriage or after invitations went out or standing at the altar waiting. There's a bright side, always. I know that doesn't change the pain, but it counts for something. You're amazing. Remember that. You'll come across the man that will adore you. There's something for you to learn from this. May not be clear now, but you'll see. Lessons hurt. Growth hurts. But you gotta grow anyway. You don't ever have to do this kind of shit without me. I'm your friend. And then you responded with a little sad emoji and a heart. And that was it. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. Now, I hadn't, I definitely do remember that, yes. Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel now? Is it easier? Does it still sting a little bit?
It's definitely much easier now. I'm still angry. Mm-hmm. And I'm angry because I'm very disappointed in what he did, mm-hmm. But I'm more angry because I feel like before I met him, I was in just such a good place. I was good, Mm-hmm. So I feel like when he came, I was open, I guess, to relationships at mm-hmm. that time. I wasn't looking for one, and he came and things were going well, and I guess I was like, oh, okay, mm-hmm. that would be like the cherry on top, I guess. But now I feel like he's disrupted that whole thing, and it's been like a setback for me. I wish I could just get right back to that place I was before I met him, but it's hard for me to get back there, and I think that's why I'm angry with him, because he disturbed my peace.
This is very personal work for me.
Politics.
I believe I was called to tell my story, use my voice, be a voice for the community, to speak to and for a community of people that's been ignored, denied, overlooked.
Religion.
This is my life's work.
Religion.
I want to use words to uplift, heal, inspire, encourage.
Do something different. Every Monday at 10.
Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressors, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart, and this is So Much To Say. These are my thoughts in my voice on black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between. Today we are talking to one of my dearest friends, and we're talking about a relationship that she had, an engagement, in fact, that ended. And so take us to the beginning. I know the story, but the people listening don't know the story. So you met this guy, you were working together?
We were working together, and things didn't take off. Or in fact, when we worked together, we weren't even dating mm-hmm. at all. I was in a position to where I, really couldn't date him.
Mm-hmm. Because there was no fraternizing at the job.
Correct. Yeah, I was in a managerial role, and he was
a subordinate.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Well, okay, we can call it that. He was, yes. Okay, so, but it was the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
It was Thanksgiving, as a matter of fact. So, you know, he's here from out of town. So the job that I work, we work a lot of hours, sometimes 7 days a week. Holidays, we were working Thanksgiving. So he was here from out of town, didn't really have any family or anything here. And so we ended up going to a movie. You know, he was asking me, he had asked before, but I was like, no, I'm not, you know, because I didn't even want to
cross the lines,
right? So, but this is Thanksgiving. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go.
Right.
And even then, wasn't a date,
right,
per se. Then we just became friends. After that, he ended up leaving the job about a month later, just because, you know, there was not enough work. And that's just what happens in my line of work. And so he was released it was in December, a little before Christmas. And so we kept in touch. You know, we were friends, really good friends by then. And then, of course, eventually we became more than friends. So he used to come up and see me. And, you know, like I said, things just kind of took off from there, relationship-wise.
So how long did you date before you actually became engaged? Because I remember when you told me you were engaged.
It was exactly 1 year. I knew him longer than a year, but I'm going to count from the time that we became friends.
Right.
And so then it was like exactly a year later. He proposed to me on, was it Thanksgiving? It may have been Thanksgiving or the day after.
And he's a little older. He's a mature guy. So this wasn't like some little knucklehead 30-year-old boy.
This is I want to say grown man in age.
Right.
Anyways, grown man because, he's been married before. He's
grown
got
man
children.
in age but not in action. Is that what you think?
That's what I'm saying, right. You know, he's been married, has 2 daughters, lived a responsible life, you know, as an adult. I say responsible, but, you know.
Right. So you were engaged and everything was copacetic. I remember you telling me you were engaged. I remember being excited for you. I remember seeing the post on Facebook when you changed your status to engaged. Like, I remember it all. And I remember saying to you, I think I even offered to write your wedding vows.
Yeah.
So when did you start to feel like things were different?
You know, I really didn't. It really came as a surprise.
His girls ended up moving to this state.
So they moved here, yes, to Atlanta. But with our job, we have to travel a lot.
Right.
So he went out of town to work.
Right.
Had been out of town to several deployments. But this particular time, he was in Arizona. And I didn't think much of it because I was working a lot of hours. The older daughter is in college, but the younger daughter was like a freshman in high school.
Right.
She was here with me. So I'm busy. I'm busy with work. I'm busy, you know.
With his girl.
Who I, you know, came to love also. So, but, you know, she's got activities at school. She's got this. She's got that. So just coordinating everything and work. I'm busy.
And then he's in a different time zone.
And then he's in Arizona, right? So this is a 3-hour time difference. So physically we got off work at the same time, but if he's getting off at 6 there, it's 9 o'clock my time.
Right.
So it's time for me to really kind of get ready for the next day again. So, but he's got still a lot of hours, so we talk. Right. You know, we talk every day, and then we're done talking because it's time for me to go to bed. Right. And now he's got the rest of the night to play. Right. And he did.
So how much time had elapsed from the last time you had seen each other? So he was gone to Arizona. So how much time had it been?
So he left for Arizona in March. When I found this out was late June of that year, right before the 4th of July. So very late June, going into the holiday weekend. And his father had been ill. His father was like deathbed ill, right? So, and I'm kind of thinking, what's taking you so long to get to see your dad? You know, like you're waiting for that call to say, hey, he's gone or what? Right. Anyways, I had spoken with his brother in North Carolina, and so I was like, you know, just trying to get a little status. I'm like, hey, what's going on? He was like, listen, I told him, and that's it. You know, I can't
Make him come.
Right.
Yeah.
So I called and I was like, hey, what are you doing? Like,
Right.
don't you want to go see your dad? So finally he ended up leaving to go to North Carolina to see his dad. His dad probably lived maybe for a couple more weeks after that. So his daughters, school was out. The older daughter had come home from college. So, you know, they're just there at the house. I'm still working a lot of hours, but I'm like, this is, you know, they need to be doing stuff.
They need to be active.
Active, right. And so I thought it'd be a good idea for them to go visit with their dad.
Okay, in Arizona.
In Arizona, right. But when I sent the girls to North Carolina, the younger daughter had been kind of cutting up a little bit, and she was on punishment, you know, kids and social media and getting in trouble at school over stuff on social media. So, and text messages, other stuff. But anyway, so she got in trouble and was put on punishment. So while she was there with me, then I used to take her phone at night, you know, and, you know, that was her punishment. You can't have your cell phone. She could only take it to school with her and then give it back to me when she comes home.
Right.
Okay, so then when she went out of town, I'm like, I know this is not going to last out of town. I gave the phone to her aunt. She didn't even know I sent the phone, but I gave it to her aunt. And I said, well, give it to her in case of an emergency. If she's by herself or goes someplace by herself, give her phone. Fast forward, her punishment was over. Like, the punishment was for a month. So I went online to go remove her restrictions from her phone, right? Because I had placed restrictions on there. Something just told me. I said, well, just go on and see who's
he talking to.
Who's he been talking to?
That's that intuition. When it just
because
whispers
I never
like
really
that? Right.
Yeah, I never really even suspected anything or, you know.
That's your gut pulling.
Yeah, but I said, well, just go see who he's been talking to. So sure enough, there's this repeated call multiple times a day. And usually it's very short calls because they work together. So they're at work all day
So he
together.
was having communication with someone else.
Another woman there, another married woman there in his office.
So was your heart racing as you're looking at the call log on the computer?
I don't know if it did at that point, but I did, of course, call the number. And I never said a word. I just wanted to see who was going to answer. And then I hung up.
And it was a woman on the other end.
And it was a woman on the other end. Then that prompted me to go digging more. Like, well, let me see how long this has really been going on. Because I'm just looking at current.
So you start digging to see how long these...
So that prompted me to go look back at the next bill, back at the next bill, back at the next bill. This started back, like he hadn't been there one full week before this all started, right? So then I'm just kind of looking at the pattern. The pattern usually is little quick 1-minute calls late at night. They're in hotels. So initially, I guess they started off in the same hotel because, you know, they're both away from home at working. So then she went, he ended up going to a different hotel, just trying to get a better rate or something. I don't know. But he moved hotels a few times. So in my mind, this is all, I'm thinking these little 1-minute calls is like, she's like, hey, I'm downstairs, or hey, like they're literally.
Right. Long enough to just say, I'm on my way.
Yeah, I'm on my way. Okay, I'm on my way up, or I'm in whatever. Exactly. Stuff like that. You ready? So, anyways, by this time, again, he's at home when I'm discovering all this. So at this time, my heart is racing. I called my girlfriend. I was like, yeah, he's.
So after you saw that it had been happening for several months, your heart starts racing.
Yeah, like now I'm on fire and my heart is racing, like really.
Right. And so you called one of your girlfriends.
So I called one of my girlfriends and I said, hey, this is, he's been cheating. He's seeing somebody else.
Were you crying?
No, at this point I'm just on fire.
Yeah.
Yes. So she's, of course, how do you know? Blah, blah, blah. I explained all that. And so she's like, well, what are you going to do? I was like, well, and by this time, his dad has passed away. I'm trying to put it all together, but I just know at this time when I made this discovery, his dad had already passed. So I'm like, oh, my God, what do I do? Like, this is like the worst time for me to
approach this.
To approach it. But at the same time, I was like, I can't go sit up in that funeral and be fake. Like, I got this burning inside of me.
Right.
And I don't even really want to look at you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So anyways, I did end up telling him because I'm like, I can't go. I'm not going.
Was he away when you told him, or he was here?
No. So he was away in North Carolina, and so his dad passed away, like right in this time, and so he had kind of just gone home in a rush, so he didn't have a lot of clothes with him. So he said he wanted me to mail some clothes to him. No, he said he was going to come get them, and I said, well, at first I said, well, let me mail them to you. Why would you do all that driving up and down the highway? Your dad just passed. But then I said, you know what? I said, yeah, why don't you go ahead and come get the clothes? Because in my mind, I had how I needed to bring this to him. So sure enough, he says, okay, well, he'll come get the clothes. And so he did. He drove. It's 5 hours from where they are.
In North Carolina, yeah.
In North Carolina. I'm sorry, I just thought about me going back to look. After this 5-hour drive, I looked to see. So he's talking to this girl the whole way.
So you looked to see, and he was actually having a conversation with her while driving here.
While driving here, yes, on this 5-hour drive. And then eventually I looked back, and he made one last call, probably like, because he got, maybe he got here at 9:13 or 9:15, whatever. And the last call may have been like 9 o'clock to say, hey, I'll probably talk to you when I get back. I don't know what it was. This is me speculating. So, but anyways, he drove here. And in my mind, I'd already planned, okay, he's going to want to get something to eat when he gets here. Sure enough, he did. He was like, hey, you hungry? You want to go get something to eat? I was like, yeah, let's go get something to eat. We drove to, we were going to J. Alexander's to eat. So he thought. But anyways, so we were driving to the restaurant, but all the time so what I did is I pretended that I left my cell phone at home. And so I just turned my ringer off just in case I was going to need it to dial 911 later because I knew what I had planned. But anyway, so I said, dang, I was supposed to call my brother back. I forgot, and I left my cell phone at home. So I said that probably a couple times. So finally, he was like, well, here, just use my phone. Call him from my phone.
Right.
I've got his number in my phone. So I had the girl's number
written on your hand.
Written on my hand just in case, I couldn't find it in his phone.
call log, yeah.
Right. So he had on one of the little, the Bluetooth deals that you wear around your neck. So we took it off that, and I wanted to make sure it was playing through the car, the speaker, the car's Bluetooth, right. So I dialed the number, and as soon as I start down the area code 214, it pops up, right, and it goes to voicemail. And I dial the number again, and so I dial back.
When it goes to voicemail, can you hear it in the car? Did her voice come up?
I don't know. Her voice didn't come up, apparently.
It just must have been like one of the standard voice messages. Greetings.
I guess so. But it never said a phone number or anything because that would have...
It would have alarmed him,
yeah. However, I think I did see him looking at the dash, and I know he saw...
The 214.
214. So I don't know if he's thinking, is she trying to call me right now? Or
Right.
What's going on? So I don't know if he put all that together in that moment or if he's just kind of nervous, what's going on. Finally, I get through. She answers the phone.
This podcast is sponsored by Borden Transportation in Baltimore. Every event is better with a driver. We have party buses, Suburbans, Chrysler 300s, Chrysler 300 limos. Whatever the occasion, visit us at www.bordentransportation.com. That's BORDEN transportation.com. Or call us at 410-379-1550. Again, that's 410-379-1550. Tell them that Craig the Writer Stewart sent you and receive 10% off. Again, that's Borden Transportation in Baltimore.
And she says, hey, I'm talking to my hubby. Can I call you back?
2 cheaters.
Right. So anyways, he's just has the dumbest look on his face like, oh my God, what just happened just right now? So I said, no, go on and say hello. But she can't hear me. I'm talking really low. I'm like, go on and say hello. So he says, Felicia called you. She said she had to call her brother, and she dialed your number. And she said, oh. Yeah, like.
So you weren't even a secret to her.
She knew who I was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she's probably looked me up on Facebook. She's probably, you know. Yeah, she knows me by name, apparently. So, anyways, and he's so stupid. He's probably shown her pictures. She knew that he was getting married. I mean, and she's married. And so then she clicks on the other line.
To get her husband
husband off the phone. So then she comes back, and I'm like,
to come deal with this foolishness.
To come deal with this. Yeah, this mess y'all made.
Right.
So he's starting to explain to her like what just happened, and I said, no, just talk like you normally talk, act like I'm not here, you know. So, but again, I'm saying it low, so he can hear me, but she can just hear probably little mumbling in the background. Right. And so she's telling him, she goes, be quiet, I can't hear what she's saying. I want to hear what she's bossing your ass around. Right. So anyway,
she told him to be quiet.
Yeah, like I can't hear what she's saying. Like I can hear you, but I can't hear her. Like telling him to be quiet. So I said, oh no, I didn't have anything to say. He wanted to speak with you, and that's all I said. But please know that y'all shit's messed up now. Yeah. Your shit's out in the open.
This is kind of one of those things where all I could think about is how women are always talking about sisterhood, and the reason that this can happen is because a woman has to participate in it. Because like we said, she clearly knew who you were. When he said your name,
right.
She was like, oh. Yeah. So they obviously had conversations about you, but not only had they had conversations about you, they had conversations about her husband. Because he was also aware that she was married.
He was aware that she was married. And he had even, like, afterwards, and I'm making him, kind of like, well, how did this all get started? You're on the confession. He's confessing now. So.
Wait a minute. So after she gets off the phone, what happened?
I went completely the fuck off.
So he pulls the car over, or?
So we're parked at this time. We're in. So we're.
In the parking lot of the restaurant.
Answered the phone as we're pulling into J. Alexander's parking lot. And so by this time now we're parked.
So what did you do?
After she hung up, and I think I'm holding his phone too, because I just remember flinging his phone across the car. I'm surprised the phone or the window didn't break.
Right.
Because I flung it and just went completely off, like WTF, like what the fuck's going,
Right.
So, and he just starts saying, apologizing, like, I'm sorry. I'm like, sorry for what? What is it that you're sorry for? So he never, even in that moment, admitted that, they were sleeping together and all that. He just said he's sorry, and his apology, he says he was sorry for hurting me, is what he said. But eventually, I got to the bottom of the story, and or at least what he was willing to tell me anyway.
So you never went into the restaurant, so you just stayed in the car and then you left? Or
we left. We went back home. But before we left, I took my ring off and put it in the drawer. Before
you left to go to
I had it on when he got home.
Right, but you took it off and left it at the house.
But before we left to go to J. Alexander's, I took it off and put it in a drawer.
Why do you think you did that? What was the significance of
because
that?
I already knew it was, to me, it was over. And I don't even know if he noticed it, but when we got back home, he said, oh, you took your ring off. So I don't even know if he noticed in the beginning, but when we got back, he noticed for sure.
So did the conversation continue once you got home? Were you arguing?
Yeah, it went off. It was completely escalated by this time.
So did you ask him at that moment, how long has this been going on? How did you meet her?
No. At that point, I'm just too upset, too tired, At that point, I'm just like, just get the fuck out of my face.
Because at this point, he was only coming to get close to go to North Carolina for this funeral and all of this.
Yeah.
So he left right back out.
So I said, when you leave, take as much of your stuff as you can possibly fit in your car. That's what I said. So, yeah.
So what is he saying at this point? Is he not saying anything?
He's just no, not really. He's
and how
apologizing.
Old is this man?
He is 52.
And see, my question is always
52.
My question is 50 anything.
Right.
At what point
51.
does the foolishness end?
Right.
Like at what point do you stop playing the games?
Don't know.
Like what
I wish
is
I
it?
had the answer to that.
So he left the house that night. When did you talk to him next?
There wasn't a big gap because he was asking me still to come to the funeral. He wanted me to be there with him for the funeral. And in my mind, I had made up that I wasn't going to go to the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
I had talked to my cousin, who's all about love and family, and that's all great. I love that too. I love love and I love family.
But not at the expense of me feeling like a fool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So she ended up talking me into going and to the funeral because I had made arrangements for work already. Like put my manager on notice that, hey, this is what's going on. I'll probably have to be off. And then I decided I didn't need that time off. I wasn't going to go. But again, talking to my cousin, she convinced me to go. And, she said, well, his father. It's not really about you guys, blah, blah, blah. So ended up going to the funeral and still putting on this facade that, in front of everybody else. He knows we're in complete turmoil, but now everybody else thinks, okay.
Everything is still
lovely.
So you went to the funeral, you came back.
I went to the funeral and came back the same day. So I drove there 5 hours early in the morning. And yeah, I just remember being in complete turmoil at that time. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating that much. I was just just numb. Unsettled.
Basically.
And just no rest.
So let me ask this. When you told him to pack up as much as he could, what was your first phone call? Who did you call? Did you call one of your friends at that point and kind of release, like cry, or did you just have a moment for yourself?
No, I internalize, which is not all that great. So I go to work and everybody thinks everything's good. I mean, they may think, oh, she's a little stressed out today, but they have no idea really what's going on inside. I don't think I really... I mean, people knew. I told my friend, the same friend that I knew, that I told you I called, told her. And, so she was kind of in the loop along the way as to everything that was going on. I mean, I kind of didn't care who knew. I almost wanted to broadcast it, but that could cost me my...
your job.
Yeah. So, anyways, I internalize like a lot, and I just deal with things myself. Right. My friend, one of my very, very dear friends, is in Houston, was unavailable. So he had no idea, like, even what was really going on. So he's so busy that, I just kind of dealt with it myself. Right. And you can only tell your family so much. Right, yeah. So, yeah.
So was there a point in all of that you kind of felt like if he really fought for it, if he really tried, that perhaps there was still a chance?
I did feel that way, but I only felt like that way. I felt like there wasn't a chance more than I felt like there was a chance. I'm sorry, let me backtrack a little bit. I did tell my brothers because, we're supposed to be planning a wedding at this time. In fact, we had put money on a venue and everything. Right. So I do remember I sent my brothers a group text to say, well, unfortunately, I won't be getting married now because I forget what I said exactly, but told them in a text message, and I said, I remember saying because his dick has gotten him in trouble or something to that effect. I forgot exactly what it was.
Did one of them call you?
No, they replied both in a text and said he's really sorry. I mean, we eventually talked, but in that moment, they just replied in a very good, endearing text from my older brother and my other brother. He just said, I remember having a conversation with him, and I told him, don't hurt her. But
so, did he try to? Was he incessantly calling or texting, trying to apologize, or
he apologized several times. I mean, he wanted to keep apologizing, and he wanted to do whatever was necessary to work things out. And he even backed down a little bit just to try to give me a little time, and but he really. I mean, the thing is, I do believe that he loved me. But his dick.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
What that's
and just to think that he had uprooted at least one of his girls. You said one of them was going
Both of them were uprooted.
Right.
They moved completely out of their home there.
And came here.
It just so happened that was her first year of college.
Right.
So yeah.
So this was a
came here.
decision that didn't just impact his relationship with you. It impacted his girls. It's like, because they weren't even here a year.
Exactly, yeah.
And then they had to pack up again once this relationship was over and go back to...
Yeah, and yeah, I do feel bad for the younger daughter because I don't know if you know that their mother died with breast cancer some years ago. Probably about, I'm going to say within the past 5 years.
So I remember you telling me that you knew that you couldn't make this happen, make it work, or you weren't going to stay in the relationship because what he had with this woman wasn't just a fling. Do you remember telling me?
I feel like it wasn't because...
You said this was a full-on relationship. Because
he will say that it wasn't. He'll say that, that he's even mentioned that she had talked about leaving her husband. Mm-hmm. And he said that he was like, no, don't leave your husband because of me. Mm-hmm. So for him, maybe it started out sexual, but in my opinion, if you spend every day, you know what I mean, with somebody for months
because it wasn't just
at
a jump
time,
off.
Yeah.
But the thing that I remember you telling me was when you said, I knew I couldn't stay when I realized what they had was a relationship. And I knew that it was a relationship because that you had asked him.
Oh, I did. I know what you're going to say.
Go ahead, finish it.
So I said, were there times that she stayed at your room and she was on her period? Uh-huh. He said, yeah, there were some times.
And that meant that there were times that they weren't actually having sex. They were just cuddling and hanging out. Like they were building something.
Yeah, basically. I mean, think about if you see somebody for every day for blocks of time, even if it's somebody that gets on your nerves, you might be like, I kind of miss them.
Right. And especially you saw the call log, so you saw how often they were talking and communicating.
And then when he was driving here, so, the calls when they were there in the same town, they worked together all day. So now, okay, I'm coming over to go to bed.
Right.
Time to go to bed.
Right.
I'm on my way.
Spending the night together.
Yeah.
They probably were only using one of the hotel rooms. They probably weren't.
Yeah, they could have just combined.
Yeah, they could have, yeah.
So, but on his way here, I'm seeing that you're on the phone for big chunks of time. Like, that's how you do it with your...
Right. Yeah, whoever you with.
Yeah.
So what did this experience make you feel once it was settled? Once you canceled the wedding, you had put the money down on the venue, you had told your close friends, you had told your brothers. What did you feel in the end? Because I know for me, whenever I've had a relationship that ended, I've always felt stupid. I felt... well, maybe you're not that great. Maybe you're not just this wonderful person. It really has, a breakup has the kind of power to shatter the best self-esteem and really has the potential to make you insecure. So did you feel any of those things? Or did you feel like this has nothing to do with me and everything to do with him? I felt
embarrassed for one thing because I'm going to call it community that we work in is very small. You always know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. And it's very small. So I feel like people probably knew. Somebody said, hey, well, I see him at, and at work, rumors get started so easily, even if it is very innocent and we just go to lunch together.
Right.
If you and I went to, they'd be like, well, if you can see a couple go to lunch together,
and all of a sudden,
and then all of a sudden there's a rumor.
It's a relationship all of a sudden in everybody else's eyes.
Right. So I'm sure they've seen them, always going to wherever together. I might see them out at Walmart together, whatever. Right. So there was the embarrassment. I was still, like I said, very angry. I'm still angry because then I think about he sent me roses at work, like not too long before that. Like, that was bullshit. I mean, to me it was. Maybe it meant something to him. I don't know. And this girl is, I wonder if her husband knows. Like, I just think about and don't ask me how I know this, but I know that that he went to go visit her in Arizona, and he's there for Father's Day. She's doing all this stuff. He's talking about my queen this, my queen that, and I'm thinking, yo, hold this, yo, hold that.
Right.
If you only knew.
Right.
But anyways, she's doing all this stuff for Father's Day, and
he's celebrating her.
And I was like, but anyway.
We already know she done looked on his Facebook. But go ahead. So had you thought about reaching out to him?
It was Twitter. It was Twitter.
Oh, it was on his Twitter. Oh, not his Facebook, but his Twitter.
You're so silly.
So look, had you thought about reaching out to him and telling him, like...
Oh, I so wanted to.
So what stopped you? Because I know there's somebody listening right now who is in a similar situation and they want to destroy the person because their heart is broken. So what prevented you?
So I had her phone number, obviously, because it was on my bill. Mm-hmm. I had his phone number. Is somehow, I don't even know. Somehow it was on his page. I don't even know how.
We had found it. Remember, I helped you do some research.
Phone number, his text, or his email. So I totally could, and even some more stuff that she did and that he did, work related, that I could have totally destroyed. Right,
because you saw that the guy that you were engaged to and this woman, you saw that they had went away to Vegas or something, or did they go someplace or something? You saw like a plane ticket or something?
Oh, so I know that she had gone to work in Denver, in Colorado. Yes. And so he's buying tickets to go see her in Colorado.
And this was after?
This is after. So I don't know if she's worked out it. I don't even know if her husband even knows. Right. To this day. And if she did, I'm sure she didn't tell him that she's giving him that she's second.
That she what? We can't hear you. That she's doing what?
That she's satisfying him orally.
Oh, you were saying sucking his dick. Is that what you were whispering? Right. Oh.
You're so silly. But anyways, I know he don't know she's doing all that. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So if she told him anything, it was just made herself look very innocent. So even after the engagement
is off, your ex-fiance is going...
so he's now gone back.
Right.
So I guess they probably did kind of slow things down or break it off. Maybe they were still in some type of communication. But I'm thinking at this point, things are so hot that they're like, let's just chill. Right. I'm still trying to be with Felicia. Right. And she probably doesn't want her husband to find all this out. Right. So they probably just got scared and chilled out. Right. So then once I told him, eventually I told him, listen, I'm not going to be able to do this. Mm-hmm. And so then he went right.
so he could stop calling and waiting to see if you were going to change your mind.
Yeah. Well, in my mind, I thought I would try. Right. You know what I mean? I thought, and I'm talking to my cousin who loves love and loves family, and
because the thing is, and I talk about this a lot of times, especially on my Facebook Live. Like, you see people or couples that get through infidelity. Like, I literally just had a conversation last night with a lesbian couple, and they had so this is everybody's relationship. Right. Not that infidelity happens in everyone's relationships, but what I'm saying is it happens in gay relationships, lesbian, heterosexual. But you'll see infidelity happen, and you'll sometimes see where these couples can get through it. Beyonce and Jay-Z, most notably. So for me, the question is always, how did that person know? In this case, Beyonce. In your case, you. How do you know whether or not you should give it a chance, and whether or not this is going to be an isolated thing, or is it going to continue? Because that is the sacrifice. That's the chance that you take with your own heart if you stay. Now, granted, that infidelity really could be a marker in the relationship. That could be the beginning. That could be the moment where he has some epiphanal moment where he realizes what he has and what he doesn't want to lose and all of that. But I personally don't know if I'm made of that kind of stuff.
I don't know that I am either. Now, one thing is that he cheated on his previous wife. Okay. The one that, God rest her soul, that is now gone. But cheated on her, and that he says it was after they had already been separated, and that he knew things weren't going to work out. But
so you felt like he had established a pattern after this happened with you.
I think this is more so if it maybe was a one night. I don't know.
If it was a one time thing, you may have tried to work through it, but this was a a relationship?
I think maybe I would have. I think the blow would have been less had
Right.
it been, dang, I messed up this one time. And definitely I want the truth. Don't just tell me that.
Right.
But
Especially
because I'm going to find out the truth.
don't I know it?
Right.
So, so what would you say to women or people who say, well, you know, men are gonna cheat, and you know, and you were apart. He was in Phoenix, Arizona. You were in Atlanta. You hadn't seen each other in months. What do you say to that?
It's not something I want. If that's the relationship I have to be in, then I'd rather not.
Right.
Like I said, I was in a good place before.
And I didn't need you coming and disrupting it.
And he didn't have to come and disrupt that. So I'm okay with being single. Now, if you got somebody to share with, that makes it even better. But it's good, or
Right.
I was good, and I'm getting back to good.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like if you got somebody to share it with, that's just better. You know what I mean? If you got a team, that's like we're a team. You know.
And my answer to that would be, I did it. I was faithful. I made the decision, because monogamy is a choice.
Right.
It's a decision. So if I was capable of choosing you and only you, then you should have been able to do it too. And I think oftentimes we give men a pass.
Right.
Not to cheat, but we make an excuse. Oh, well, they're not able to do that. They're not that disciplined. You know, I think we make these excuses. What have you learned from this whole thing? What would you say? What have you gleaned from this whole thing?
You know what? I would say also that no, I don't. I was going to say that what I think that my part in it is or was. I don't know. I've tried to look at myself and say, am I selfish? Like, am I, not meaning that selfish, that it's okay for me to share, but while I'm in it, am I giving
Were you giving 100%? You mean
enough? Yeah.
But see, I think that's a part of what deception and betrayal can do. It can cause you to second guess in every aspect, not just am I good enough, but also did I give enough? And I just think that sometimes you do have to reevaluate. But I think more times than not, no, you made the decision to cheat. Because if I wasn't given enough, at 51 years old, I need you to be mature enough to come to me and say, listen, you're not giving me enough.
And it's also about perception, because I feel like I've completely flipped my whole life upside down. Like, I don't have kids, but now I do. You know what I mean? I'm not used to sharing my space.
Right, this was your house.
But now I am.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I felt like I gave a lot.
Right.
But to him, it may not seem that
Right.
way. You know what I mean? Maybe
So-
that's just what you're supposed to do.
Right.
In
So
his.
what have you learned about yourself because of this whole thing?
I learned that I will never, ever let another man in my house.
Oh. So let me ask you that. Is that something that you've learned because that this thing has taught you that, and it's a good, valuable lesson that you learned? Or do you think you're scarred because of that, and you're now going to have this wall up in that area, in that aspect?
I think it's both, honestly. I do feel like it was a lesson. I want whomever I'm with to have your own, and this is just from experience. Like, now, have your own everything. I got mine. When it's time for us to come together, then that's another, I guess, whole commitment in itself. Like, yeah, I feel like it was a lesson. How I feel like it was, what did you say? You called it? What did you call it?
Either it's a lesson for you, or is it now a wall?
I've definitely put up a wall. Like, I totally feel like, and maybe it's just the place I'm in.
Right
I'm
now,
not
yeah.
ready to open up to anyone. I don't want to be vulnerable to anyone. My heart, I feel like I'm protecting my heart, and I just am not ready to. And I wonder if I ever will be.
But I think that's
the
just
scary
maybe
part.
part of the stage that you're in. This is the stage you're in.
I don't know. I hope it's a stage.
So
but I don't know that it is.
for my birthday the other week, we had a little gathering, and remember the question that went around the room was, when you fall in love again, because you will fall in love again, what will you do differently?
I think that what I would do differently is pay attention to him. And when I say pay attention to him, I mean really, really pay attention to him. I mean, I'm paying attention when he's talking, but I want to make sure that it's not just all about me. And I don't think it's just all about me. But like I said, I'm busy with work. I'm busy with your child. I'm busy with, it wasn't just all about me, but am I really giving you what you need also? You know what I mean? So I think I would pay attention to that.
What if you did all that you were supposed to do? And what if this is just, in the grand scheme of things, this is just a lesson to grow you to this point? Because what if in the cosmic space, it wasn't ever intended for you to marry him? In the physical realm, right here on earth, that was your intention and his intention. But what if in the spiritual realm, what if in God's eyes, it was never intended for you to marry him? Rather, for you to get the lessons that you've gotten from this very painful experience.
I have to believe that's what it was anyway.
Because I think
that's what it was. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So that was a part of God's plan. And sometimes we don't understand the lesson. Maybe we'll never understand the lesson, but I believe in this. I guess there will be a lesson. I feel I've gotten a little bit of the lesson. I don't know if I've gotten all of it, but...
No, you haven't gotten it all yet.
But I think that was a part of God's plan.
Iyanla Vanzant always says, every experience is a lesson God would have us learn.
I believe that.
I do too. So maybe that was it.
Sometimes it takes you a while to understand it.
Because it takes a minute for it to come into focus.
And if you choose to receive the lesson also.
Right.
But yeah, I believe that.
What would you say to him today?
I still want to punch him in his face on sight. That's what I want to do right now. Then I'm going to feel better. Then I can go on.
Then I can move on.
Then I can move on.
Wait, so when was the last time you spoke to him? Has he reached out?
He has, for financial reasons. We've still got some unfinished business. Like I said, we had put
the money on a venue. And she's going to get her money for that venue.
And so
they may not know you, but I know you. She want her money.
So, you know what? And more than that, I want to move on.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be free from all this.
Yeah. So he has been sending the money to cover to take care of it.
He sent some within the past month, $500.
So is he saying anything like trying to, where it feels like he's trying to?
No, he's really moved on. Like he has moved on.
But he's not with her, is he? Or you don't know?
Okay. So maybe he just wanted to be married because...
He's engaged?
I think he's married. And I'll tell you why. Pause that.
What would you say to someone that's in this predicament?
What I would say to them is to follow your heart. If you even think that it's something that you can work out, then don't go broadcasting it to everybody. Don't tell your friends, your family, your whomever.
Because they're going to judge you if you stay.
They're going to judge you if you stay. And plus, you just don't need all that extra
noise.
Like Monique said, what you gonna do, bitch?
Right. Exactly.
You don't need all that.
Yeah. Because if you're not leaving, then you don't need to have everybody in the business. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to broadcast it to everyone.
That was from
Two Can Play That Game. One of my favorite movies.
Right. So if
Toni Braxton actually said on the Braxton Family Values, she said, never ask a man about another woman if you don't plan on leaving.
Oh. Okay.
If you're not going to do something about it, don't ask him about it. Right.
Because it's just going to eat at you.
Right.
And that's the thing. If you think...
And it's going to make you look foolish. Because you've asked me about it and you know about it, but you're still here.
Right.
You ain't doing nothing about it, so what you asked me for? And then that's going to give him more courage to just do whatever the hell he's going to do.
Right. That's true.
It's going to embolden him.
You have to ask yourself, is this something that I can live with? And don't just say you forgive him, but you have to make up your mind that you're not going to continue to beat him up about
it. Yeah.
That thing.
Was that a part of what you were thinking too? Like, am I going to be able to let this go and not keep asking about this, or not be anxious every time I call him and he doesn't answer?
I didn't want to have that feeling, and I think I would have.
Lose that peace of mind.
I feel like I would have had that. Like, what? He's supposed to be here by 7. Now, what is he doing? He got off work at 7. It's not taking that long.
Look, and it's 7:09.
Right.
But see, that's what.
And normally he calls as soon as he
Exactly.
So I don't want to have that.
Yes.
I don't. I did that in college, and I said I will never ever run myself crazy like that again.
Yes, indeed.
Oh my God.
And I think that's why I say all of the time, I don't know if I'm made of that kind of stuff. Now, I believe that I could get past the cheating. What I can't get past is the paranoia that comes with the cheating.
And that's it. I think that I could have gotten past that, but in my mind, even if I didn't beat him up about it, to him, in my mind, I just feel like I would have, or inside me, I still would have been beating him up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think that part of the reason, too, why I don't know if I could stay is because, for me, I don't want you to think I'm weak. Oh, he wasn't strong enough to leave. And I don't want to feel like I'm weak.
Yeah.
And not to say that you're weak if you stay, but that's just my feeling of how I would feel if I stayed.
Yeah. I don't think it was that for me, but just inside I would have been beating him up. Like I could see me looking at him. He could be over there, I don't know, taking the trash out, and I could see myself looking at him side-eyed. And he wouldn't know what I'm thinking, but...
Right. You mad 6 months later about some old small thing, but really they had nothing to do with that. It's really still residual feelings about what happened.
Yeah, so for me, I just couldn't.
Oh, let me ask you this. I asked you, but we kind of segued. What made you not reach out to the woman's husband and tell him?
Karma.
Yeah.
Karma. I feel like I know that he's reaping what he has sown. Like I've seen shit, like you going through. I don't know what's going on with her, but I don't know. I feel like karma. And they're gonna, when I say that, they are reaping what they've sown. And then had I done all that stuff just to create more mess and I would be
right. So you just
get bad karma from that also.
Right. So you just figured if her husband was going to find out, it wasn't going to come from you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's the best way to be, because what I've learned is you don't have to spend your time, energy, and effort trying to give someone the lesson, trying to expose someone or teach someone. The universe is responsible for all of that.
Yeah.
You don't have to try to do that. And that's something that comes with maturity. I remember when I was younger, like when that motherfucker in my first book who stole my clothes, who you were still friends with after he stole my clothes. And see how I was there for you when you went through this? See, when that motherfucker stole my clothes, you were still friends with him.
Correct. We weren't friends like that.
Well, he was still calling. You should have blocked his number.
He's probably trying to find out about you, but he didn't find out.
But anyway, when he stole my clothes, looking back, and I write this in the first book, looking back, I wish I had not gone and destroyed his car. Because I'm not responsible for giving him what he deserves, or what, you know what I'm saying? Like, the universe will do all of that. Now, I may not be there to witness it. You may not be there to witness it or to see how a person gets their just due. But trust and know that they always get what's coming for them. And there's a moment when you get what's coming to you, you're like, well, damn, what did I do to deserve this? You always replay things in your mind. You're, oh, well, I was kind of shitty when I did such and such.
Yeah, it's kept me from doing that. That thought there has kept me from doing a lot of things. And to your point, I have seen people that have done me wrong. And not that I wish, I'm not the person that wishes. Like, even for them, I didn't pray for anything bad to happen to them. But now if I seen her laying in the street out cold, I'd have stepped right over and kept going.
You're that girl.
I'm that bitch. Right.
Listen, thank you guys for listening to this podcast. I know we kind of lightened it up, but I'm glad that we were able to have this conversation, because again, when I sent you those texts that day, I really felt it in my spirit. And I'm doing a better job of trying to pay closer attention to my life, but not just my life, but the lives of the people that are around me. And I'm in the practice now of, when I think of a person, I send a text or I make a phone call and say, hey, you crossed my mind. I think that is God whispering. That's the universe whispering to you, saying, reach out to that person. I don't know how we ended up texting that day, but I'm glad that...
Must have been God.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we had that chance to do that. But if this is your first time listening to this podcast, please be sure to hit the subscribe or follow button. We're available for free in Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, as well as YouTube. And we're here each and every Monday morning with a brand new show at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please share this podcast. There is someone in your life, in your circle, that could use this story. So do me a favor, hit the share button, share it through text. You can share it on your social media. And join me on June 2nd, Saturday, June 2nd. I'm hosting the very first live podcast in Atlanta. The details are on my website, craigthewriterstewart.com. Be safe, keep loving yourself.